Okay, we're here in our little small boat restoration shop. We want to talk for just a minute about plywood. And folks asking, can I build a boat out of plywood from the big box stores? The answer is usually no, unless they've accidentally ordered some good stuff. With the plywood, we talk about the best things. The best plywood out there is a marine grade plywood. This is a 1/4 inch sheet, and it has 5 plies. It has a veneer ply on the outsides, faces. So then it's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's held together with waterproof glue. There's no voids. By that I mean little knots or divots or bad pieces. So the face is good on either side, and you're not going to get water in there. It's going to be pretty. This is sapelli or a mahogany ply. You can stain this if you want, leave it finished bright, or you can paint it, and you're not going to worry about water getting into the wood. As compared to this plywood, which came from one of the big box stores, and it's 1/2 inch. And even though it's 1/2 inch, it's only got, let's see if this will focus on it. Got 1 ply, 1 inner ply, and then a 3rd ply. So twice as much wood, but only 3 plies. And you can kind of see this void here. There's a void here. Look at this up here. There's voids there. So if you get any kind of crack or anything and you start getting water in there, it's going to rot from the inside out. This plywood, it might be like a B. It's graded a B. This plywood's A on both sides. You get a B grade on maybe this side. It might even be C. Probably a CD maybe. And then on the back side, you look and see what they've done. There's just there's knots and voids all over the place. Some plywood you'll find where they cut that out and they put a little donut in. You might see that in the marine grade plies. And that's okay if you're not worried about the look. You're just gonna prime and paint over it because they've used waterproof glue and they've sealed up all the little voids. But this thing, we use it for our little yard art pieces. And we can come along and we can put some sealant and some other things in there. These are probably 10+ years old with just some apple barrel or whatever it is, some latex paint on it. Touch them up time to time, so we don't mind if it's just sitting in our yard for a few weeks around Christmas. If it starts to get a little split going, we can put some adhesive in there, preferably some thickened stuff so it doesn't just run out and clamp it, repair it, repaint it as needed. So that's what's going to happen if you build a boat out of some of this stuff from the orange store or the blue store. With the plywood they have in there, it's going to come apart. You could spend a whole lot of time sealing it up with adhesives and putting fiberglass over the top of it, and yes, your boat would float for a year, a couple of years maybe. And if you kept on top of it, just like your house, you sealed up any little void you saw, you might make it last quite a long time. But if you invest in the better plywood up front, you're going to take 99.9% of that concern out of the equation. So, build a boat and have it last a few years, or potentially build a 100-year boat. It's your decision up front. If you're building the first time and you're thinking, I just want to see if I can even get the shape, if it even looks like a boat, and you don't care that it starts peeling apart a couple weeks after it's finished or after it's been in the water a few times, then sure, go with the cheaper, inexpensive stuff. But if you're going to put a lot of money and time into something, we recommend, this plywood might be, I don't know how much we paid. Let's just say close to $100 a sheet for this. Came out of a 4x8 sheet. Whereas you might get this for 30 or 50. when you add it up, you use 2 sheets, you know, you might save $100. But when you think about all the time you're going to put into building this thing, you might have wanted, down the road, you might want to have spent that extra money to have it not come apart on you. Here's some 3/4 inch, and it's got marine grade. It's called a British Standard 1088, BS 1088. Means it's been rated by the British Standards Registry that it's good for use on a boat. It's going to be insured by Lloyd's of London, that type of thing. And this brand, I'm not sure, but one of the popular brands is called Hydrotech. And 9 plies, waterproof glue, good face on both sides. Here's a piece of 1/4 inch down here that's 5 ply. And once again, comparing the 1/4 inch, I'm sorry, that's 1/2 inch. That's 5 ply from a good marine grade plywood store, and here's 1/2 inch from the blue or the orange store. It's only 3 plies, and you can use one face, and then you'll spend a lot of time trying to get that smooth. And it's probably fir, maybe pine, and those softer woods, when they get moist, they tend to, we call it fuzz, start to get the little bits of wood poking up, and you got to sand that, and you have to seal it and prime it and paint it, and then after a few months or a year, it's all fuzzy again. So you have to sand it. You got to spend a lot of time fixing it. So you spend a lot of time in prep, and you spend a lot of time in repair. So it's really just worth the money if you're pretty sure, you know, what if a year later you decide you don't want your boat? Well, you sell it. And when you sell it, you say, I used BS 1088 plywood, I used epoxy or adhesives, I used silicone bronze fasteners. And so the people buying it can have the peace of mind that it's built like a boat with boat building materials. So those are just some tips, or some of the differences when people start talking about different types of plywood. Can I build a boat or not? Now, if you're going to build a yard art for Christmas, then just go to the box store and get the 1/2 inch exterior grade plywood. Put a good quality paint on it for a base coat, and then latex is what we like. Like I think this little engine here had a gray base coat of some good exterior grade Valspar, and then we came back with latex apple barrel stuff over the top of it, and it's held up just fine. This was built a couple years ago. This caboose has been around for about, gosh, probably close to 10 years, and you can see where some of the craft grade paints, well, most of that came from moving and being thrown around inside of a pod shipping container. But you can come back and fix it up, or maybe you like the vintage look. You know, the caboose on the railroad wasn't all bright and shiny unless it just came out of the paint shop. So hopefully this is helpful and helps you maybe make a decision to go ahead and spend those few extra dollars if you're building something that's going to go in the water and stay in the water for extended periods. That about does it.